Hi and welcome to another episode. What we've got here is my Amiga 1200 keyboard. Well, it's one of them that I've got. And as you probably know already, the Amiga 1200 keyboard has a layer to it. Please excuse all the wonderful dust that's hiding behind the keys. I will clean that off at a later date. But what we need to do is get in, and to do that we have to take off all these wonderful screws. So how many are they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Now that we've all learned how to count to 27, let me unscrew all these screws. So just like magic, all those screws are taken away now. So let's pop the back off, carefully pulling up because there is a tiny slot, metal slot here for the ribbon cable to come through. So put that down, find yet another space. There we go. And as we can see, it's transparent and it is layers, so you've got to be very careful with it. You can actually see a little bit of discoloration there. At least I can. Maybe you can see a bit of a splurge. Yeah, there's a bit like a brownish stain there. That's not. Can you see that? See, that's not so good. But this does work. There's nothing wrong with it. Not as yet, anyway. As you can see, something definitely has crawled in and died at some point. And something over here as well. As I say, I need to pop off all the keycaps and clean thoroughly before I leave this for too long. But as you can see, it's a Mitsubishi one. And you're probably wondering, well, why are you taking this out? Why? If it's working, why fix it? Because I've gone and splashed out and bought this, which is a lot firmer. There isn't layers, it's a proper PCB. It does wobble though. And you get this, and it fits in, as you can read, a A500 or an A1200. The A500 though, you've got to be careful. You've got to make sure it's one that works this way, because not all of them do work that way. So you have to make sure that it does, but this will hopefully give the keyboard some longevity instead of these layers and the carbon things, because they do go wrong over time, as I'm sure this will do over time, but this should completely outlive that thing. So let's roll this over. Make sure if anything has died or got underneath, or Christmas cake or whatever that's it is a second-hand keyboard. It's not me. I'm a lot neater around keyboards than lots of people seem to be. I tend not to eat food or drink near my keyboards. Each to their own though. So it nicely fits in, but then as I've just realised, I'm going to sort that one out. So obviously what I need to do is put this in first, and it does seem to have blue rectangle down, so I'm going to make sure it's got a little pulley thing to do. So I'll put the blue rectangle down. Don't really understand why it's got a bit that says blue rectangle up / down, but maybe it depends on the type of ribbon you've been supplied with. So that's in there. Push the bits at the side. Doesn't come out anymore. So that's there, ready and waiting for the metal bit to go on top, which of course I need to slide that in. As you can see with the screws as well, I've laid them out to the way that they were. So yes, that seems easy enough on that part. So with some fantastic magic, I shall feed this through here. Careful I'm not crushing it, of course. And then surprise you by Trying to figure out how it all screws back up again. There we go. Lined up again. So as I say, jump cut, and the screws should be back in again. Ta-da! Oh, the screws are back in again. That is a tedious job, but someone's got to do it. Turn it over, and as you can see, if it was a 500 one, you would have a connection there at your 500. But then you probably think, well, that's not going to fit in the 1200, is it? Well, let's get the 1200 back and I'll show you. Obviously, I've got the keyboard laid down now, but before I go into how to actually fit this, I've forgotten to give you some facts. You can get these hard PCBs from Sordin.ie, Ireland. I'll put a link in the description on where to get them. Their shipping costs are either free or very cheap, depending on where in the world that you are. As in, it's just a couple of euros to send it to the USA by the looks of it. And there isn't just the 500/1200 version, there is a 600 version as well, so if you've got one of those, you might want to take a look at them. I didn't mention about this connection for the 500. Basically, I think with some of the 500s, there's 2 layers of these ribbon cables, and that's where the problem lays. And you need to have a keyboard that allows just for the 1 ribbon cable. I don't have a 500, so I don't know an awful lot about it, but I believe that's the problem. But either way, when you're buying the 500/1200 one, make sure it fits before you buy it for your machine. Now, to get onto this, now we have a ribbon cable again, and to go into the slot of the 1200, it looks like it might fit like that, but it doesn't, because as you can see, there's too much gap. It's not wide enough. So to get past that problem, you have a PCB for the 1200. So let's open up the little latches on the side, and then we slide that on just like before, and then we close it up. So there's a nice strong connection. And then we want to fit this in here. Now, the one thing that the manual fails to do is tell you that that's not going to fit in that tiny little slot there. So to get past that, what you need to do, and I had to figure this out myself by testing before I make the video, is just on the left hand side of this little grabby bit, because it has the same sort of mechanism of, as you push it down, it grips onto the ribbon cable. Of the old kind of the layers, is push to the side ever so gently the plastic, and you'll bend it. You will bend it. As you can see, this is doing just a few times has warped it, but that comes away. Be ever so gentle, because you might want to put it back for whatever reason. You might want to, so be ever so gentle with it. But it does come away relatively easy. But you know, just be gentle. Some force, but be gentle. If you've done these sort of things before, you'll understand what I'm getting at. Now this fits in here quite nicely. Again, it's a bit of a firm push, but it does go in. It doesn't need any extra trapment or anything like that, because the thickness of it actually makes it want to stay. Because it, just using my fingers to try to pull it back up again, that's not enough force. I'd have to put a fair bit of force on to make it come back out again. But you don't really want to keep doing it again and again and again. Now let's fold in this ribbon cable so that it's out of the way when we're putting the lid on. Just let me grab the lid. I know I've got 2 sets of lights and everything, I'll sort that out some other time. But there we go, that's that. And then what we'll do, I'll plug it in and test it and show you what it does there. Okay, so I've turned the Amiga on, it's booted up nicely. Let's go so we can see the Amiga screen. As you can see, I've already loaded up shell. And let's see how we go. So we got Shift Q, just so we get capital Q, that one works. Shift Q again, that one works. I know that the Alt keys works. I've used that as a mouse because, as you can see, I don't have a mouse plugged in. So let's do the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, shift exclamation mark. So we know that every letter of the alphabet works, because if you look closely, that sentence has every letter of the English alphabet. So let's try the other symbols. They work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, minus, plus, pipe, or backslash. Yep, they all work. Delete works. Let's go that way, see if that key works. Yep, everything obviously works. I'm sure the function keys work as well. Escape key works, so that row probably works. Caps lock, we can see very tinily. Let's go full screen for a second. Caps lock light. Yep, that works too. So there we go. That's a very nice replacement, quick and easy enough to do. It is tedious undoing the screws, swapping it over, putting the screws back in again. It is scary taking this off. I have to say it is scary. Maybe you should do it when there isn't absolutely everything inside there and use a flat screwdriver, like I say, just to knock off the little flap at the side and slide it off to the side. If you're left-handed, maybe the other way. But as I say, maybe you don't want all the gubbins like I've already got installed. But it's in there. It doesn't feel like it's going to pop out anytime soon. It's not stiff like it's going to break, but it's stiff as in firm. It's not going to just jump out. You're going to have to pull it out. As you can see, I've actually pushed the ribbon cable underneath, so when I close the case, everything's going to be nice. As always, seems to be like a nice little fix and a mod, because as I said at the very beginning, these things do eventually go decrepit. I will clean it up, get rid of whatever insects or other things have died on there, and keep it in a very safe place in between a couple of sheets of paper and a bit of cardboard, so that this can stay safe. And if I need to use it in a different keyboard, or I'd like to give it to someone who needs a replacement keyboard, well, not keyboard, but you know, the layer, I can do that. But as always, happy gaming.